A lot of those societal beliefs around perfectionism and who we should be keep us from doing it, right? Because the world makes us afraid. What if it goes wrong? What if you fail? What if we're going to talk about prosperity today. What if you lose everything, right? I think that's a fear for people, and I get it. But if you can imagine the worst, you can also imagine something else. What if it goes right? What if it's the most delicious thing that ever happens in your life? What if you become so much more prosperous, not just financially, but in life itself, in experience, in joy, in love, in creativity? And I believe it's all there for all of us. What I bring to my work is recognizing that in everyone, that we are all co-creating our lives all the time.
Welcome to our show. I am honored to have one of my new friends, Elaine Blais, to join me. I'm very looking forward for today's conversation, Elaine. But before we start, I want to share the amazingness about Elaine. Elaine Blais is a spiritual life coach, imperfection alchemist, and author. Elaine helps humans, particularly women, create the success they want in life and business by overcoming the need to please and having the freedom to finally put themselves first. Her clients are able to shift from self-improvement to self-approval, release the pressures of societal expectations, reconnect with their inherent worth, and create a life that feels genuine, fulfilling, and beautifully imperfect. Wow. Thank you, Elaine, to coming for our show today.
Thank you, Sunny. It's nice to be here, and I'm really delighted to have this conversation with you. It's exciting.
When I read your backgrounds and your business, I become very curious about how you discover the imperfect in yourself by using as a tool to become who you are today.
Yeah. So a little bit of my story, right? I grew up in a very conservative background. I learned to be a good girl and follow the rules, even if it didn't feel like it was me. And I have always had a good life. I think many of us do, but we don't realize we can go from good to better, good to great, good to fulfilling, right? And I think the turning point for me was when I got into my 40s, that midlife space. And I had all of the things, right? Was married, a great family, a house, the dog, the car, the vacations, the job, all of the things we think we're supposed to have. And I was miserable. So what seemed to be perfect really wasn't perfect for me any longer. And so going through a divorce and that shift really got me into a place of being more intentional about who I want to be and how I want to live my life. And so my life is today unrecognizable compared to those days. And I have had all sorts of beautiful adventures because I've learned that what appears to be or what we think out in the world is imperfect. Especially as women, right? We should look a certain way, be a certain way, take care of people, all of those societal limits really that are put on us. When I start to take all of that away and really allow myself to be imperfect, to be vulnerable, to make mistakes, to try things, the world just really opens up in a beautiful way. So I have worked a corporate job for 25 or so years, and I left that to become a life coach. And that led me to make other changes in my life. I self-published a book a few years ago, which was a little bit scary, hitting that button, putting your work out into the world. I bought a home, sold my home, bought an RV and started traveling. And now today, I still have that RV and I live with my partner on a boat full time.
Wow. So from the land to the water.
From the land to the water. You got that. Yeah. Yeah. And I think the beautiful thing about allowing yourself to just try the things that you want to do. We all have dreams. We all have a vision of who we might like to be next. And a lot of those societal beliefs around perfectionism and who we should be keep us from doing it, right? Because the world makes us afraid. What if it goes wrong? What if you fail? What if we're going to talk about prosperity today. What if you lose everything, right? I think that's a fear for people, and I get it. But if you can imagine the worst, you can also imagine something else. What if it goes right? What if it's the most delicious thing that ever happens in your life? What if you become so much more prosperous, not just financially, but in life itself, in experience, in joy, in love, in creativity? And I believe it's all there for all of us.
Yeah. It's exciting for us to picture the fantasy. It's like, oh, if we can do this, why not? We need to have that as the first starting point. Thinking and deciding is one point, but the perseverance to make it become a reality, that need a lot of strength. And particularly, you say women, sometimes we think we need to fit in. We want to provide. We want to put other people first. But I wonder in that process, you're doing the transition and become better version of yourself. What tools or something to support you to get through those challenges? I would like to learn about your secrets if you want to share.
I don't know that it's a big secret. I think for me, it was really taking a spiritual path. So that is very different from what I learned growing up, right? Growing up, I learned that whatever you want to call it, God, higher power, that life force was somewhere out there, right? And it was making decisions about my life. It would punish me or reward me depending on how I behaved. That was what I grew up believing. And the more I turned to spirituality, to metaphysics, to understanding that divinity is what and who I am, it is sort of my co-pilot in life, right? My co-creator. And I am always working with it to create the life that I desire. Doesn't mean it always turns out perfectly. But wait, let me take that back. It doesn't mean it always turns out the way I want it to, but it does always turn out perfectly. A lot of what I bring to my work is recognizing that in everyone, that we are all co-creating our lives all the time. And so the tools and practices beneath that for me are really understanding our thoughts, how we feel, and how that is creating the experience we have. How do we move from thinking of ourselves as sort of victims of circumstance of life is happening to me, and become the co-creator of my life, me happening to my life, right? Me bringing myself to the life that I want to experience.
Yes, yes. What I heard is more like you discover your true power. You step into the power you always have. But you make it become visible, then you start to access to the power and use it. Like, I don't think you jump right away. You actually improve it. And so, oh, I even have that skill. I didn't know I had, right? So you start to have more confidence to unleash whatever you already have. Just like you say, a certain time of our life, that internal sparks will start to kind of, hey, listen to me. So I think I start to do that similar like you have about 40, midlife, it start to have more maturity. Because I think when we're young, we just have fun. We just follow whatever, that sounds like fun. That sounds like success. We just chase them though with tons of energy. But when we get to the certain point of maturity kind of kick in and say, slow down, you don't need to chase, you already got everything. You just need the time to get in and unleash that. And so the human design system is one or two kind of floating to me. It's like, whoa, this is neat. Everything in pictures. I have this science background. Everything for me is like picture in science way, but they tell me something I don't know. It's more like energetic level, which I really not get into it. But I think everybody actually are spiritual beings. So eventually our life will get back to that connection. But from your profile, you're really amazing generator like me. That means we create a lot of energy. So we are the engines of the planet in a way. If we didn't have the clean energy to share with others and other people would take it in, then they will experience our negativity.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, we are all connected in the field, right? So we become more of conscious about our mood, our emotions, our attitude. If I'm responsible for whatever people experience, but of course that is a personal choice. They'll say, "Oh, you make me unhappy, so I don't care." It can be that way too, right?
Yeah,
But I think I make a choice to say, all right, so since I'm doing this, I have to pay attention to how my emotion, my negativity coming from. So I can, turn off that source. And I think the best way is just follow our strategies and authority. So the human design system is the user manual. What is the best strategy you can use based on your design? Everybody's different. We have a different
mm-hmm.
energy flow. We have a different imprinting process, on the culture, religions, or school, or
Yeah,
governments, or country. We all have different sets of the imprinting inside our core. But this picture actually give me more reflection. So I can say, oh, if I born like this and I feel like that, and that may be a bridge, somehow I allow it to come in. So if I don't need to experience that, what other things I can do? We cannot block energy to be
right.
realistic, right? We cannot say, okay, I'll say boundary. This is my castle. No one can come in. Hey, energy is energy. The only
Yeah,
way I think, at least for me, is like raise my consciousness and energy. So then nothing is compatible. They're going to be leaving. They just not feel
exactly.
comfortable to stay around us, right? So I think on your own journey working with your client, you mentioned about you made them to become believer about their own power. So they don't need to do this unstoppable self improvements. First, they
Mm.
can just start knowing they have everything. They love themselves. They accept themselves. So maybe you can share how you let those clients, which is deep in self doubt, and start to light up.
There are two that I think of right off the bat. One is sort of a really practical, down to earth exercise, right? That takes people through how their thought generate a feeling, generate a vibration, an energy in their body, and then the action they take as a result of that, right? So I take them through that process. Sometimes it's just a really easy visualization first. Close your eyes. Imagine you have a lemon in your hand. You cut the lemon, like you're imagining this, but you're feeling all the sensations of cutting the lemon, smelling the lemon, even though the lemon's not real in this moment, right? And so that's a beautiful way to get people to recognize that everything that's happening here in their body is happening here through their thought. And then progress in that to something that's really happening in their lives, right? I know for me as a generator, as a 1-3 generator, I'm going to use this word as a gift. My gift is frustration, because that feeling of frustration for me is when I know I'm out of alignment, right? So it's a gift, right? We tend to think those challenging or uncomfortable emotions are problems. Oh, I don't want to feel this way. So and so made me feel this way. This thing made me feel this way. But what really makes us feel that way is our own thoughts. And so beginning to recognize the feelings and how those feelings are actually guiding us, especially the uncomfortable ones that we don't want to feel. We've not learned to feel them. I mean, I remember growing up as a kid being told, don't feel that way. Don't be angry. Don't be disappointed. But I feel disappointed, right? But it was somehow wrong to be that. And I think, at least in this culture in the United States, we are very much taught to, sort of pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and be okay all the time. push all that other stuff aside. But it's all really important to navigating our lives.
I believe you become a catalyst to start with the conversation and then to feel about their body, to feel about the emotion can trigger some different reactions, right? Just like you said, we're not taught like that. We are really just kind of cover it, put it under the blanket or something. We don't want to see it. But then we miss the opportunity to polish the skills. Right. How you manage your emotion, because you actually, just like me, has a wide open solar plexus.
Managing emotions is something for me that is a continual practice. I have learned that when I am engaged with a client, very often what they're experiencing connects with something I'm experiencing. And that can be both good and bad. And it's really, for me, it's just a really deep sense of self-awareness. I can know that I'm feeling this and almost compartmentalize it for while I'm with a client and allow them to be who they need to be in that moment and come back to it later. And it's a practice. I've been practicing it for 8 years now. I do it in my day-to-day life with my partner who could be really complaining about something, and it would be very easy for me to get into the complaint, right? Have you experienced that? And just really knowing that this is not mine to do. This is not mine to do. It is a lot of self-awareness. But then again, life is really all about self-awareness.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we just giving a lot of opportunities if we consider that opportunities.
Yeah.
And just kind of learn on it other than try to suppress or, eliminate them. Because life is just have a lot of experience combined that we can shift. The only thing we can shift is our attitude, our definition, right? Like we can label it, is this and that. Then we'll create the environment based on that label. We all need to go through like that, this negativity and confusion, doubts and anger, frustration, in order to use them as a tool to learn and how to manage that, because we still have a lot of obligations, responsibility. If we can manage our emotion or frustration in a healthy way, not to suppress it, I believe we start to have more of the skills and, unlock the potential we have within. And I believe that is how a lot of people like you become an excellent coach. Particularly, I think you want to change people's idea about their imperfection. That is hard, right? Because we always have this beautiful picture about ourselves. We want to be no faults, right? There's no mistakes, like flawless.
Yeah.
I can just do nothing because, I'm perfect. So I wonder, is any experience you have that in your own life?
Yeah. So what's coming up for me around that right now is the idea that I am already perfection, right? You mentioned earlier that I encourage people to get off the self-improvement track and move over to the self-approval track because they're very different things. Self-improvement, which I was a fan of for a long time, I've made the transition myself, is the idea that there's always something wrong with me that I have to fix, right? It's exhausting. There really is nothing wrong with any of us. And we're spending all this energy trying to be something that I think in many cases, someone has told us we should be, or society indicates we should be. And so that to me is the pursuit of perfectionism, right? Try harder, do more, I'm not enough. So what if I come at this from the perspective that I'm already enough, right here, right now? Even if I say something completely awkward in this moment, it's okay, right? It's okay. And just allow myself to begin to step into more authenticity, which means vulnerability, a willingness to not have to be polished at every word I say, not edit my words because they might make Sunny uncomfortable, not worry about how I look, not worry about whether you approve of how I look or not. I'm comfortable with how I look. And it doesn't, you're right. We can go to the complete opposite and go, oh, I don't give a care about anything. I'm not going to get dressed ever, whatever. Okay. Which is not really honoring our true selves either, right? Because we are all here as creative beings, and we are meant to create a life. But my life doesn't have to look like anyone else's. That's really the point of self-approval, right? Maybe I want to be a goat herder. Maybe I want to be a kite maker. We tend to, as a society, look at those things as less than. And so we think we're less than. And we need to get outside of that whole comparison box and just really be true to what's calling from our heart and soul.
Yeah, beautifully said. If everybody understand the creation is complete, like for really just have the experience, have fun, learn things, impact others, and share our knowledge or wisdom, because that's how we create it differently.
Yeah.
Like if everybody is all perfect, there's no fiction, there's no confusion, there's no doubt, then we don't make improvement. We cannot evolve because we just stay like a rock. Okay. We don't need to do anything, but we are different. We do need to use our gifts. I don't even need to make big impact. I don't need to be a millionaire, but every moment of my life, I choose to be the best version of myself. I can be vulnerable. I can be happy. I can be sad. I can feel I'm nobody, but that's okay. But I can always get back to, I know who I am, that level. Every time I have my guests, they come in with the amazing hologenetic profile. So I wonder you'll be okay. I can share your pearl sequence through that hologenetic profile.
Oh, I have no problem with that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yes. The gene keys for me is kind of interesting because I'm a geneticist. So everything I learn is DNA related, but it's on the molecular level. But once I kind of ask, what is the language of nature? I like to learn more. And the human design system and gene key just flow into me and kind of connect it perfectly with the other side of the DNA insights I didn't know. For me, gene key is the quantum field. So it's energy field, but we have everything already created within us, a different frequency, different way, different perspective is already there. But our job is really to remove all the negativity or victimhood is not belong to us, so we can return back to the natural state. So they have different sequences. And first is called activation sequence. Second is called Venus. The Pearl sequence give us some insight about the business, your soulful business. They got 4 different spheres and they create like a quantum structure. So the top, we call life work in the activation sequence, but in the Pearl sequence become your personal brand. So that means you show up with your authenticity, right? So that's your top. Then you have a vocation. The vocation is connect with your Venus sequence, which means like, it depends on how clean we are to let go with our pattern and upgrades our operation system. And we can declare the real purpose. So the vocation is kind of declaration is who I am. Now I want to do what? So that is the vocation. Then the other part of the quantum structure is the culture key. The culture is what is the best energy alignments with my client, with myself, with my team to create a big growth, to impact more. So in that quantum structure, you got the pearl in the middle. Think about the oyster. I don't know whether you travel in a boat, whether you can go to see oyster. But if they have some like a little thing get into their flesh, they can only just polish, kind of, all right, I can tolerate it and make it bigger, but it becomes smoother. We're using all the challenges and negativity, frustration, whatever, but that is the ingredients start to polish our personality and authenticity. We all need to combine all the ingredients. No wonder you love to live in the water because you got like 75% of water. The gene keys combine the Hebrew Kabbalah and Chinese I Ching. That's the book of changes. The water in the ancient Chinese really indicate trouble. You think about Yellow River when they flooded, everything, the livestock and all just gone, right? They have to deal with that every year. But it's also give us the opportunity to invent something new. So we can, redirect the force because we cannot block it. The only one to really to do is releasing and redirecting, right? Recalibrating. So we don't to like directly to fight with the force. The best
Mhm.
way is really just flow with the force and, know how to live with that. So 75% water, I can feel you have a lot of opportunities through your lifetime or even through building your business to navigate through sometimes the rapid currents. You just have to change fast, but through that, you learn fast. So in your vocation key, that is amazing key. They have a water and fire all together. So water and fire, that means you have, maybe environment give you a lot of water, but you also using that as a fuel to light up your fire. So you become to alchemist as a role in your business. You transform yourself. You are line 5. The line is also different energy level. So 5 is the leader, is the fixer, is the person who can provide practical solutions. So through your rapid, in the water and fire out yourself, and then you become such a great strategist, right? You can manage people to tell people, say, this is I've been through and I know the tips. If you want to do it, I have the solution for you. So
Mhm.
that's your vocation. That's your role in your business. Obviously, you are doing perfectly just like that. Right? You are the life coach. You are the imperfection and alchemist.
Mhm.
That's definitely what happened. And turned out water, the trouble become a learning opportunity.
Absolutely.
Then for your culture is 29. That's double waters. And that means you will have double opportunity to learn in the situations of moving fast, but then you have more skill. For your line is number 6, which means you the line for the business structure can be individual. That's line 1. Line 2 is the partnership. So you may be one-on-one with people.
Mhm.
Then the 3 is the units. It's more like, okay, maybe like a tight group, like a family unit that way. And 4 is network. 5 is society. 6 is the system. So you are the 6 as a system. For people who have a gift to build a system, usually they do not too much. They offer the vision.
Mhm.
They can direct the flow or something going to somewhere, and they don't need to be there after they create that movement. So that system people usually they are visionary because number 6 is on
Yep.
rooftop. You can see. So you can just put that in, like people like me, one, they just like doing a lot of work, right? But for you it's 1 and 3. So you need to go through yourself. So you 1 and 3 is the trial and error until you finally can line up with the system yourself. Your personal brand is 48. The line is 1. 48 in the ancient I Ching is the well. So think about you dig a well to get water because you are
Mhm.
a lot of water under it. So you have to dig deep until you hit and the water start to come up. So for your life work and also your personal branding is to turn that I'm not enough feeling into the wisdom.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
when you are feeling it's not enough, so you just keep digging, right? Keep to improve yourself and learn things and get a degree. But at the same time, you feel like you have to keep going, right? But when you keep going, you start to change. It's like, oh, actually, I already have that. It's nice to learn
Mhm.
that, but
Yeah.
I don't really need because you got wisdom, you got everything within. You are just like all the depths, knowledge, and wisdom is within. And if you go deeper enough, it's just like dig out the well, the water will come out. Everything flows just beautifully. You provide others to drink, and we all have a watering ability to depends on beautiful well. Because in the ancient time, is one well the support other people. Even that
Um,
civilization die out, the well is still there,
yeah.
right? To get the next generation more water, more other opportunities. So that's how I see your pearl sequence. But your really pearl is number 47 and line is 2. 47 and 48, they are really create a lot of opportunity. 48 is like a well, right? 47 is the wood kind of a restricted in a very small environment. So they couldn't expand in the beginning. But you are, because all the work you do, your self-awareness, your consciousness level going up, then you will move on the oppression, like you totally tied up. Then you start
Mhm.
to expand. So you start transmuting yourself. So the bigger, highest expression in your pearl is transfiguration. In that sense, you turn your humility into more divinity because you understand you got everything within. You already create imperfectly, but it's perfectly for who you are.
Mm.
So that is the pearl sequence I see.
That's beautiful. And that is really the message that I work with for people, that, we think our life has gone wrong, but actually it's gone right. And the one thing I was thinking as you were talking earlier is when you had asked me about tools that I use. And one of the things that I always go to for myself, and I really work with clients on this, is recognizing that everything, and I mean everything, that is happening in my life is actually happening for me. It happens through me and it's happening for me, right? And every
Yes.
time I think it shouldn't be this way, I'm simply arguing with my own reality, my own co creation. And when I can begin to embrace that, right, and realize, okay, I did this, right? This is
Mhm.
me. This is how I've shown up in the world. There's nothing wrong with it. What is the higher possibility here? Right? What is this inviting me to do next, to see next? Who am I to be next? And that is really my journey. That is where I have come from in a sense, and where I continue to go.
Yes, yes, yes. Because fun, your activation sequence, the one can trigger you to evolve is the let go of your control. Once you decided you don't want to be limited, that's how you start to activate it.
Yeah.
I think we all do
Yeah.
that because we all live in control and structure way. For me as a scientist, we got everything black and white. We have to have a hypothesis. We got to collect information to prove we are
Mhm.
right. But most of the scientists only just cherry picker. They pick what they want to believe, right? But the science really don't have a conclusion. Right? Science is really just observation. Like what you did, you design this, you get this information.
Yeah.
But if we put that same philosophy into the nature, it won't work because nature is not controlling. Nature is providing and
Really.
lets you have free will or free choice, right? And everybody choose differently because we design differently. I actually had to ditch everything I learned in 20th century because it's totally not making sense for me once I
Mm.
shifted to quantum. The molecule level is needed, but the function is not linear. What we think it was. Okay, if I got a problem and the B is the symptom, so if I can eliminate anything happening between A and B, then we shouldn't experience B.
Mm.
But when we eliminate whatever we think that might be the targets, then we disturb all the harmony.
I,
Then we
I
create
think,
more the side effects, right?
yeah, and I think so much of that applies to who we think we should be, right? We label ourselves, I'm this, I'm that, I'm. I'm a mother.
Yeah.
Yes, I am, but my children are grown. So that's a different role for me. I'm not mothering anyone anymore.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm having this conversation with you in a way I've never had this conversation before. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. We're constantly shifting and changing. So everything is a moment in time and then, and then.
That is what more people like us to start to share the information, the stories. And so what is the best way for people to connect with you?
So they can go to my website, which is Elaine Blais, BLAIS.com. They can schedule a call there with me. They can also, if they'd like, share their email address with me. Right now, I am offering a free guide called The Alchemy of Imperfection. So how do we begin to
Mm.
embrace the things we think are wrong with ourselves? And they can
Mhm.
also follow me on Facebook at Elaine Blais on Facebook.
Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom today. Well,
Thank
before
you.
I let you go, I would like to hear from you your definition about prosperity and maybe any parting message you want to share.
Gosh, I think for me, prosperity is really liking myself and trusting who I am in the world, because that for me is the pathway to everything that I want, right? To love, to harmony, to connection, to everything. And prosperity is all of that. Parting wisdom. Oh, I have so much of it, Sunny. I'm not sure what to share, right? I think the biggest thing that
Maybe silence is the answer.
it might be, but I'm going to talk anyway. I really think that the biggest thing that I try to encourage people in general to reflect on, to embrace, is to trust what we already know, trust what's in here. And that takes practice because there's a lot of voices and noise out there that, want our attention. But truly, we know what's best for us if we allow ourselves to connect with who we are.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. You have this vision about, if we're all connected, we all shining our sparks in the right way and with the right connection with ourselves, right? We can definitely create a pure energy. It's a high vibration energy,
Yeah,
right? Particularly 70% of generator, we need to start to do that together.
I
so,
know, right?
so all the projector, reflector, manifactor, can flow within that beautiful clean energy net, right? Then we can all create a new
Mm,
earth. I like that. Oh,
yeah.
with a lot of water too, right? We like
Hmm.
water.
We go with the flow when we do it. Yeah, that's a beautiful image that we are creating this net for everyone to just be themselves in. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Elaine, to be here and share your gifts. We just show up with who we are, and we all know we are the part of the whole, and
Mm,
we're not separate from one another, right?
we're
So,
not.
thank you so very much to be my guest today.
Thank you.
You enjoy the rest of the day, then.
You too.
Bye bye.